Justice Vibrant Living. I am a holistic health coach. I live in Manhattan Beach, California. I'm a transplant from Missouri, so I have been here a long time now. So my journey started, I'll just give a little background. My journey started as a Bachelor of Science in Nutrition Dietetics. Back in the Midwest, I did my internship, worked in a hospital. Just really wasn't my thing. And one of the cardiologists there said, hey, I found the perfect job for you. I was 22 years old. He said, there's a nutritionist, dietitian, fitness instructor needed for a cruise ship out of Florida. So off I went. So, we never know where our journeys are going to take us. So the first thing I want to talk about is just a healthy brain, right? We know we want a healthy body, but our brain is what we really need to function. So your healthy brain needs, there's 4 golden rules for that. One is a balanced blood sugar. Now we all know what happens when we don't have a balanced blood sugar, right? So too much, you have to have the right sugar at the right time in the right amount. Okay, there's nothing really bad with sugar, but sugar is our brain's biggest fuel. So you can't do without it, but you can definitely overdo it and you'll have hyperactive, and you can underdo it and you'll have tired, lack of concentration and all those things. So you definitely want to focus on making sure that you give it at the right time. I'll go into a little bit later what sugars not to do, right? But they mainly should be in the form of, complex carbohydrates break down into sugar, right? So they should be like whole grains and oats and nuts and cereals and pastas, things that give you complex carbohydrates. So you don't want to eat a big meal or skip a meal, right? The secret is to keeping that blood sugar balance throughout the day. So eating 3 meals a day with 2 snacks is perfect, right? It's actually good for us, right? Then we don't get lethargic from overeating and we keep our blood sugar balanced. Protein is super, super good because, as you know, it lasts a little bit longer. So you want to pair that. You can pair that with your carbohydrates too and your fruits. So you can have an apple with peanut butter, or you can have toast with avocado and things like that. Okay, next I want to talk about essential fats. So essential fatty acids are needed because you need those amino acids to break down into protein from the proteins for your brain. Okay, those are what as Valerie said, those are neurotransmitters that fire the brain. So we need those essential fatty acids. If we don't produce them on our own, so we have to consume them. So they're in the form of, the ones that we know mostly is, as Valerie said too, are omega-3 fatty acids, right? So those are the ALA, which mostly are plant-based, and then there's DHA and EPA. So those are the fish oils. So if you're getting a couple servings of fish and nuts and seeds per week, you're doing a pretty good job, right? So you need to just be a little focused on that. But that's going to help improve your child's brain just by giving them the right foods. So there's also the whole thing about fish, right? We know that, there's mercury in fish, and I don't know about you, but I'm concerned about that because that's one very, very toxic food for our brain. So there is something called the National Resources Defense Council, and they have put together the Smart Seafood Buying Guide. I should put these on. 5 ways to ensure the fish you eat is healthy for you and for the environment. So they rate the fishes from low mercury to moderate to high to highest. Do not eat, avoid at all costs. So, and tuna is right there in that high. So, and most of I know I do, I know my daughter does, loves tuna. So just be aware of that. Choose fish oil and star flour or evening primrose oil to supplement fats. And of course, avoid dried, browned, or processed foods. Okay, next we're going to get into vitamins and minerals. I have a little sample of something here. So how many of your kids get all their fruits and vegetables in? No hands? I know a few families who just start early on with those vegetables and the kids are still eating them. I don't know, but I think it's our biggest challenge, right? So I'm passing around this drink. It's called Youth Factor Boost Powder, and it is basically a berry flavored drink powder that you add to water, and I love it adding to yogurts or popsicles or other forms too, because it's kind of a sneaky way. But it's equivalent to 4 to 8 ounces of fruits and vegetables a day in one little packet. And it looks like this, right here. So it has a host of antioxidants. So first of all, our kids don't eat right. They're probably going to get sick more often, right? So this keeps their immune system super, super strong. It also has digestive enzymes. And I don't know about you, but I love digestive enzymes because as we get older, it helps us break down our food better. But for kids, and I'll talk about this a little bit later too, there's a high incidence of higher incident constipation in ADHD kids. So this is just going to help them flush their bodies. It's very alkalizing, so what that means is that they can rid themselves of the toxins more, but also it takes away some of those sugar cravings. So it's just, you can take a drink. It's very, just cheers to your health.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, and you can take a packet home and you can test it on your kids. What I've found is that kids crave it. Like a couple of my clients, they give it to their children, and they're, mommy, I want that red drink, and they just want to keep drinking it. So they know what's good for them, which is really cool, right? So, okay. Let's see. Avoid anti-nutrients. Well, that's a big topic because that's kind of where I'm gonna put most of my focus is refined sugar, damaged fats. Your hydrogenated fats. Fried foods, chemical food additives, and food colorings. So a lot of the studies that I've looked at and studied is that diet, and I hope some of you are in belief of this, diet can improve your child's brain. It can improve our brain, right? We know if we wake up, don't eat breakfast, grab a coffee, get a sugar something, we don't feel so good, right? And so it's the same thing is happening to them, only at a much, much higher concentration. So their bodies are smaller, so the little bit that they take in is heightened even more. So when I mentioned that kids are really individual, they really, really are. And when I look at, I think of a puzzle, it's trying to figure out the puzzle pieces. Like Jamie said, what works for one might not work for another, right? So first you want to find out, you want to fix the poor diets that they're eating. You want to address the artificial foods and flavors. You want to look at their sensitivities, and then you want to look at their deficiencies, and then you want to look and see if you need to supplement, okay? So all those things can be different for each child. And for yourselves, also. So you're going to become an expert label reader, right? Have you ever noticed you go to the store and you go, oh my God, there's 6 choices of everything, and you're like, I know I should know what that word means, but I don't. So it really is quite a challenge. And my daughter is now 21, and thanks to Valerie, we've made it through some really tough years, and she's a junior in college, and I'm so proud of her. But we had our times. But I taught her early on to read a label, and so she would pick up a box of something in the grocery store, a package of something, and of course I'd read it, and I'd say, well, what's in it? She'd read the first 3 ingredients, and I said, is that a good choice or a bad choice? And she goes, well, not so good choice, Mom. I go, okay, find something that's a better choice. So we've been doing that for years. So she came home a couple weeks ago, and she kind of busted me. So she got into my cabinet, and she goes, Mom, I can't believe you're using this protein powder. Did you even read the back of the label? Yeah. And I go, yeah, I think I did. But anyway, she had found a couple of things that were in there, and by golly, she's a smart little cookie. But anyway, she's probably a little more, she has gluten sensitivities, which I'll go into later. But the bottom line is we can teach our kids to make really, really good choices. And when they feel that empowerment and that they have, a choice in the matter, they're going to more than likely be excited about eating it or not eating it. So And always, always ask them how they feel afterwards. That's something we don't do very often either. I mean, even as adults, I coach, all ages and different backgrounds, and I'm like, they've been eating the same food, and I'm like, well, how does that food make you feel? Well, I usually am kind of like bloated afterwards, and I'm like, well, do you think that's a good food for you? It might be oatmeal, but if it doesn't make you feel good, what's the point, right? So the more we listen to our bodies and talk about it, I mean, if you talk about it with your kids, you're really giving them so much good information, because you're teaching them how to, bless you, you're teaching them how to listen to their bodies. Same way we would do if you said, are you tired, honey? Is it time for a nap, or would you like to go to bed? Like things like that. But do we ask them if that made them feel good when they ate it? We don't usually do that, right? It's something we have to practice doing. So going back to the artificial foods and coloring, so many, many studies, and I think there has, where I put a couple websites and things that I found, but food coloring is so bad, right? I mean, we have red 3 and 40, and I was trying to memorize them because I wanted to let's recite them off. Blue 1 and 2, let me see if I can. See how my memory is. Yellow 5 and 6, and green 3. Anyway, bottom line is food coloring is bad. And it's been from the 1960 to 2010, they've increased 5 times. So all of that is going in. I mean, we know that the Skittles are bad, and we know Fruit Loops are bad. But have you ever really looked at all the food coloring that's in things? I mean, every packaged good that you pick up, everything that's in a box or a package, a can, you should read, because somewhere in there's a food coloring, because they want it to look bright, they want it to look healthy, they want to, if they cook something or process it, they've got to put that color back in. But most importantly, they want you to be attracted to it. They want the kids to be attracted. I mean, that's the bottom line, right? I mean, how do you give a sucker that's not with food coloring? I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, I have to get some suckers. No, but they do make the natural ones that don't have the food coloring. So that's always a good idea. Okay, so because bottom line, those are toxins, and those increase your hyperactivity, but they're all just things that are clogging up your brain. They did a study. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can read what I wrote here. I can't remember where the study was, but anyway, they took I think it was like 500. It's on one of the other pages, so I'll get to it.
Children.
You read it?
6-week diet.
Thank you. Which page is that on?
150 improvement.
There, 200 kids. They put them on a 6-week, no artificial colors or flavorings at all, and 150 of them improved. So that really should tell us something there. So
6 weeks.
6 weeks, yeah. So another toxin to eliminate is sodium benzoate. That is a preservative. It's in almost everything. Truly, it's a preservative. So anything that's canned, but especially sodas, dressings, ketchup is a big one, but condiments, juices, jams, lots of carbonated beverages. So always be on the lookout for that one. It's especially, prevalent in high school and college because they eat a lot or drink a lot more carbonated sodas. Even the ones that are not, what do I want to say, like has the aspartame, which is horrible, and sugar, which is not so good. But even if it's like a natural, it's still in there. So you just have to monitor that. Remove the medicines and foods that contain salsalates. So those are also, especially in aspirin. So those have been known to increase asthma and allergies and things like that. So there's so many things we can look for just to help our kids out, right? So what do we do next? So we've taken out the bad stuff, or we've at least, attempted to read all the labels. So next we want to talk about supplementation. So first and foremost, do you all believe that the foods that we buy today are as nutritious and have all the vitamins and minerals that we need? No. Right? No. It's unfortunate. I grew up on a farm, I said in Missouri, but we grew our own, we had our own garden, but we raised cows and pigs and grains. We did use pesticides. Now now I see all the after effects of that. But the bottom line is we had grass-fed cows, so, but fruits and vegetables. So very different time we live in today, very different time. So for us and for our children, we really do need to supplement. Magnesium is the #1 deficiency of everyone. So for yourself, for your kids. And it is used in over 300 bodily functions. So it is super, super important. It can calm hyperactivity and agitation. It helps with better relaxation and sleep. It relieves discomfort of sore muscles and growing pains, which we know our kids go through. It relieves constipation, reduces anxiety, and reduces headaches.
It can really relieve constipation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta be
That's what I
careful.
use.
You do. That's so funny. She brought that up.
Seriously.
Last night my daughter calls me and she said, my chiropractor recommended that I take Calm. I don't know if you've seen that. Right? And I go, your chiropractor, you didn't ask me,
Yeah.
So she'd been taking it because she has issues with a little bit of constipation, right? And so she's like, Mom, I've been having like loose stools and kind of like not diarrhea, but not firm stools every day, and I only go once a day. I'm like, what are you doing different? Well, I started taking this Calm. So you do definitely have to monitor the magnesium. So a little bit does go a long way.
So if you have the opposite problem, then should you avoid, is there a way to get magnesium
Well,
that won't cause that issue?
because you have diarrhea, leaky
Yeah.
gut, or something of that. So there's a whole nother protocol for that. But yes, you can take a small amount because you won't necessarily. But that's more. I'd have to look at the whole picture. Yeah. Next is B vitamins. So B6, B12, B9, which is folic acid. Yes.
You guys are talking about so many different pills. My daughter won't take a
A pill.
vitamin.
Yeah.
So what's one
Yeah.
pill that I should give her?
Yeah.
Like my mother too, she has dementia. She
Yeah.
won't take a million different
Yeah.
vitamins and she needs them.
Yeah.
What is one
Well, good.
Great question.
Awesome question. Yeah. Well, so many things come in liquid form now, and capsule. You open up that capsule, you put it in their yogurt, you put it in their smoothie, you put it in their thing, you mix
They
it
can taste it
in.
still in the yogurt. Believe me, my mother has
Yeah.
dementia.
Yeah.
It's hard to pull one over on
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
Do they like the Smarty Pants? Most kids like the Smarty
No,
Pants.
Yeah.
I was talking like my mother.
Oh, well, she might be.
There's chewable for her too.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
what it is.
and I'm going to talk about a brain supplement that I work with too, and that it's a capsule form, and you can open it up, but it doesn't really taste like anything. But yes, this drink that I passed around, is a good way to sneak a lot of things in. It's got B6, B12, folate, a lot of stuff. But yeah, we can talk about that. But I would look for things that you can stir in or liquid form, and mask it any way you can. I talk about popsicles. I make these into popsicles, and kids think they're having a treat. So you can throw in some other stuff, fresh fruit, yogurt. You can mix it all up. So the B vitamins are super, super important now. Because they're synergistically, they work together for your brain to support the critical function of the brains. And I think, Valerie touched on a little bit, like serotonin, dopamine, and GABA. Well, those are all, those are all necessary neurotransmitters that we need. So they're usually low, right? If you're deficient, you suffer from anxiety or insomnia, low self-esteem, negative thoughts. So lack of focus. So you really need to look at this as you're looking through my list here and saying, okay, where does my child, where do I, what are my concerns, right? And then what are the supplements that I could work with? And then what amounts do I need? Because so sometimes these things can be in one form, right? In a really good multi, or a couple different things. So you can do some combining. I'm breaking them down because I just want you to know the importance of each vitamin and mineral. Zinc, she mentioned, Valerie mentioned, is super important because it is a cofactor for your neurotransmitters. And zinc is another one that we're deficient in. So lots of studies showed that most kids with ADHD were deficient in zinc. So you definitely want to supplement with some type of zinc. Yes?
Would you recommend getting, say, like a full blood panel, like CBC with differential, to like see where you're deficient before supplementing?
Won't you set you up, Jayne? You go.
Yeah. Yes and no. Your kids are still small. So that'd be something I could help you with. If I saw your diet, I could get a good idea.
Well, I get mine done, so I know where I'm deficient, but for my children.
I know, but I think it's maybe a little premature. I mean, starting with a few supplements and, like I said, looking at their diet, and seeing where they're missing would be a good way to start. And then I was sharing with Valerie, I'm also taking a course called Functional Diagnostic Nutrition, and it's a course that's very involved, but it will enable me to take a lab test, which would be saliva, stool, urine, things like that. And there's some really good tests on there for children with ADHD, oxidative acids test, gut issues, zinc and insufficiency or deficiencies. So there's a lot of things that we can do that's not so invasive, Right. And sometimes I think that we what I like to do is look at the biggest problem and go there. And then try something. Because if I throw everything at you and you try everything, how are we going to know what works, right? Too. So I tend to start out very easy and kind of build up. So, especially our kids, right? They don't need as much. And chances are you ladies wouldn't be here if you weren't like really diligent about wanting to give them their best foods. So, yes, I hope that helps.
Sorry, I'm having trouble with the connection.
What's the appropriate dose of magnesium or zinc for a kid?
Oh yeah, so I didn't go through. They're on the sheet.
8 milligrams of zinc.
Yeah.
That's
Zinc. You said
normal in
magnesium.
vitamin.
Magnesium is 100 to 300 milligrams. I did put that in the handout too.
300 milligrams a day for magnesium.
Yes, 100 to 300 for children. Yes.
From the old position, is there any consequence to kind of overwhelm them with supplements and they don't need
I
it?
didn't hear the first part.
Is there any consequence like I don't have
overdosing?
or they will just eliminate?
Yeah. No, you have to be careful. Because you also
The
have to,
oils.
and the drugs.
DNA.
Yeah. You have to be careful.
Because if you don't have the panel, you don't.
Right.
You actually
I
don't
always,
know.
like I say, I'm very conservative. Start low, start slow. And
If they're having like a blood draw anyway, like let's say the doctor, they're on their annual physicals, like, oh, let's, go ahead and.
I mean, I always say the more information you have, the better, right? I mean, honestly, I always like to have more information. If you feel that's something that you would want to do and is
I
appropriate.
ignore the fear of overdosing.
Yeah.
Oversupplementation.
Yeah.
But then is something like the Smarty Pants vitamin, is that something that sort of starts low for children? Like, how do you know if that's too much?
Well, I can see, I looked at the label and it told me how much percentage of each vitamin and mineral in
So
there.
is that like a good starting place?
It-
Like take a multi?
I think so. I mean,
Instead of trying to
if
figure
you
out all
can,
these different
mhm,
amounts.
you can. Yes, if you find a good one that's not, colored, and you've got to have it's got to be gluten free, it's got to be sugar free, it's got to be, it's got to have all these things so it has to be a good one. That one is a good one. Where'd the Smarty Pants
Well,
go?
the Smarty
Keep pointing
Pants
to
is one of the
Smarty
only
Pants.
ones that's made out of beet juice and
Yeah.
natural coloring. And,
Yeah.
the Flintstones are kind of toxic, but
Yeah. Oh, kinda.
We all grew up on, thank you very much.
Yeah, those colors again.
Might explain a lot.
So, first of all, I just want to say there are foods that are high in magnesium. There are foods that are high in zinc. I mean, we have foods, and I think I did list some on here. I'm just, I think what I mean by supplementation, it can be food and it can be, actual supplements too. So just being aware that your child may be deficient in these things may be the reason why they're acting a certain way, right? So you have to kind of look at that. I answer all that. Fish oils we talked about. You should have EPA to DHA should be a 4-to-1 ratio, and you need what did you say? I have here 1,000 to 1,500 milligrams per day.
Of what?
Fish oil.
Oh, yeah, well, okay, in the vitamin world, any child over 100 pounds is considered an adult. So an adult dose is 1,000 milligrams, or you push it to 2. I have patients who are bipolar who pushed it to 10,000 milligrams. They stink like fish. Children, 500 milligrams.
Looks like
you
a
can
fish.
push it to 750. You can forget a day, fine, no problem. But 500 milligrams, under 100 pounds.
And I was just going to mention vitamin C. Vitamin C, you probably already know, shouldn't be taken an hour before or after your medication. So you kind of have to look at certain things. But that's an awesome antioxidant and helps the neurotransmitters. But no, if you ever in doubt, just call me. Show me your bag of supplements or take pictures of them and their labels, because take some of the headache off yourself, and just see.
You're not supposed to take vitamin C with your other vitamin?
No, with your ADHD medication shouldn't be an hour before or an hour after.
And never is a stimulant with citrus, because then it
Yeah.
starts dissolving in the stomach. So never citrus. You can have it an hour later, but.
You mentioned that there's 3 types of omega-3s, or 3 main ones. Do you need all 3 of them?
Yes.
Or, okay,
ALA, which you may not, alpha lipoic acid, it comes from nuts and seeds, and
Yeah.
it's very easy to get ALA.
right. But if you're on a vegan diet, you're not going to necessarily get the other 2 if they're not plant-based, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So focus more
Are
on
you
your
a
ALA
vegan?
for now.
No, I just,
Yeah.
there we go.
What does your dentist say about that?
My dentist
Yeah.
that my average cleaning is way better.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Yes.
So I just have
You're
a,
probably a good vegan.
Okay.
I just have a couple more minutes left, so I just want to, so vitamin D is a major vitamin that you need. We're all deficient in vitamin D also, all of us. So we need vitamin D. I mentioned the brain supplement that I also work with. It changed my life. It changed my daughter's life. It's the brain supplement. EHT stands for a very long molecule. After 20 years of research at Princeton University, you have the information in your folder so you can see it, what the ingredients of the supplement are. You can give it to children. It's now in capsules so you can break it apart. But it is a game changer. The coffee bean extract is the research, and it showed that it repaired the neurons in the brain. Now, repairs for aging brain or concussion brain, which I know we have kids playing, so many sports, but also for that ADHD brain or that attention brain that starts to fire them so they connect. So it's, like I said, it was something that really was life-changing for me and my daughter. We tried all sorts of combinations of meds, and this and that didn't work. And it was the one thing that actually calmed her down and helped her to focus. And she started it as a junior in high school, and she's still taking it as a junior in college. So it's one thing that I will always give her. She will always take it because she's much more able to focus now, and she doesn't have those outbursts. I teach piano. I think you'll see in the back I put my piano card. I live in Manhattan Beach. I might be out of your, traveling area, but if you know anyone who's, piano is an amazing, amazing instrument for the stimulation of the brain. It also helps calm kids down. I had a very strong ADHD girl. She was 8 years old, and she used to pound on the piano and get really, really frustrated with herself. And for a while, I was like, I don't know if I should be doing this. I don't know if this is counterintuitive, But I suggested to her mom that she take the EHT, and then within about a month and a half, she was so much calmer, and her teachers were commenting in school, and so on and so forth. But the bottom line is, we just need to look at the individual. child, you know. So I just wanted to share that with you. And the last thing I want to talk about is gut health. So, and that's where most of my nutrition, not most, I would just say it's where a lot of my focus is right now, because gut health is directly related to our brain. Our gut is our second brain. So everything that's going on in your biome in your gut is affecting your brain. So if you're eating crap and you're not digesting, you're not breaking down the foods to be converted to amino acids to stimulate your neurotransmitters, you're not going to work, right? Your kids aren't going to work. But the bottom line is, we all have problems with constipation, sometimes the other things, the diarrhea and stuff like that, which we can address. So I have a probiotic also that I love, and I recommend probiotics to almost every single one of my clients. This one is in powder form. It's in this cool little packet. So you can just rip it off and put it on your tongue like a pixie stick. So it goes immediately into your system. So it will help, right away with bloating or any issues you have, but also a nice way to incorporate it in. It tastes lemon. So you can, if you want to open and sprinkle a little bit on your hand, you're welcome to do that. It won't hurt you. Might help you. So thank you very, very much. Again, you have my contact information. Thank you. I hope this was helpful. And it was so much fun speaking to you all. Thanks. You're welcome.